This meeting is being recorded.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another episode of AKE Fitness Connect. Today, I am joined by the lovely Mehtab Khan, who is a former bodybuilder, among other things, originally from Kenya, and also nowadays a hypnotherapist that helps people with managing stress and getting them back to balance, which we'll unpack a little bit more around the coaching services she undertakes. And from my understanding as well, very keen on quantum physics and numerology, if I can get the pronunciation right, and a whole gamut of weird and wonderful and delightful hobbies and interests, which is great. So all the stuff that's kind of tickles my fancy as well, just quietly. Anyway, so again, I think, so just an introduction as well, if you're new to this podcast or Zoomcast, the idea of this is actually to connect with peers within the health and fitness and coaching industry, is to give you guys some opportunity to kind of gently explore the different types of coaches that are out there, potentially resonate with someone that's on the show. And also, if you're starting out in your health and fitness journey, to find out who might be a good fit for yourself if you're willing to take the next step and actually get a coach to help you with certain aspects of your life and your well-being. And also to see whether or not you can resonate with some of the coaches' personal stories and what got them into fitness or their approach to health and fitness, and some of the drivers behind that and what they aim to do in order to help others and leave an impact in the world. And again, I have gone very long with the introduction, so I think I will hand it over to Mehtab Khan now, or Tabs as we like to call her. So Tabs, did you want to give us a little bit of an introduction on yourself? You can start anywhere. You can start from the beginning or middle or now, wherever you like. And we'll just let the audience know who you are.
Yeah, sure. Hi, Amy. Hi, everyone. Thank you for such an amazing introduction to where do you want me to start? Like just Kenya? Like I was born and raised in Nairobi, Kenya. I moved over to Perth when I turned 21. That was like 2004. So this is home now. And yeah, I went to Curtin. I got a finance degree. Should have done sports science, but didn't know it back then. And then, yeah, I just got a job working 9 to 5, and it was, I graduated when 2008, which was like when the GFC hit, the financial market. It was just, it was so hard to get work. So I was telemarketing for a while, and then I had a role come up, just like an accounts officer role, and I jumped at it because I was like, any experience, that'll do. So I temped for like almost the whole year, and then in October I got my first like permanent role, and I stuck it out with that company for like almost 7 years. It was a telecoms company doing their payroll and that sort of thing. And it was around like in the middle, or maybe towards the end of working with that company, when I started like bodybuilding, 2014. And it was because like you said, I'm a hypnotherapist to help people with burnout. There's 3 different types of people that have burnout: the hyperachievers, the people that experience scarcity, and then the people that experience boredom. And I was a third one. I was stuck in this repetitive cycle of like Groundhog Day at this work. I was drowning, didn't enjoy it, didn't have any inspiration, didn't feel any love or anything for it. And I was also being bullied. Like there were a couple of, it happens, right? And it was just, I didn't know at that time. I wasn't aware that's what they called it, right? Like, hello, African. Is that what it is? Like, okay. Yeah, so you're either like when you start doing comps and stuff, I feel like you're either running away from something or like running towards something. So for me, it was like trying to run away from, like all the stress at work. And it felt like the only thing in my life that I could control was my food, my training, the gym. It was like solace at the gym. I didn't have a lot of self-esteem, didn't have a lot of self-confidence. Growing up, my mom moved out. Like, gosh, I should start from the beginning. Like
well, hang on, let me, because there's so much to unpack in just that 3 minutes. Wow, I feel like I went on a huge journey. So if you don't mind me asking, moving over to here when you're 21, did you come with your family or were you by yourself?
So okay. my stepdad got a permanent resident visa to settle the whole family. They came down for like 2 weeks. He hated it and they wanted to leave after 2 weeks. And I had already started uni back home, had friends, had everything, but like I kind of fell in love with Perth. Like it was just so clean and it was just so different from Kenya. And I just felt there'd be so much more opportunity here to grow, to live a life on my own, independently, and because if I reckon if I went home, you just never know with Muslim families, like they just marry you off. I know that's like very like stereotypical, but it's true, so yeah, I mean, I bet you my stepdad would have, maybe he would have done that, I don't know, but yeah. They left, I sat them down. I was like, I'm not leaving. I'm not going back. And it was surprising. They let me stay. So I stayed.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, that's huge. So growing up then, Muslim culture, and sorry, you were about to say something about what happened when you were growing up with your mum. Did you want to finish that story before I start bombarding you with other questions?
My mom and my dad, my real dad, biological father, split up before I was born. She was about 7 months pregnant with me. So I had not met him, and I kind of grew up with my grandparents looking after me. And then she got married when I turned 8. And she left. She left me with my grandparents. She moved 2 hours out of the city to live with him. He was manipulative, controlling, narcissistic. And I think my granddad was very protective of me, and she wanted to take me with her, but he said no. So I didn't know the kind of trauma that has affects a kid, and up until like maybe 32, 33, started unpacking all of that. It's still going.
Yeah. It's gonna take a while. Yeah, all right. Okay. And then so growing up in Kenya and things like that, so again, and is both sides of your family Muslim or just your stepfather's side? Okay, both sides. And then so how was that for you growing up in terms of expectations for women in terms of fitness and so on, and education and food, or basically everything? Like, how did that impact your life, or I guess what sort of structure and cultural influences did it have on your personal journey?
I guess I was a rebel. I was always doing everything to rebel. It was just in my nature. I used to skip school all the time. I was always in the headmistress's office. I loved fitness ever since I was little. It came from my mom. She used to do Jane Fonda videos back in like the 80s, that was the thing. And when she was home, I remember me copying her. So I would do them along with her. And then when she left, I just started like jogging, running, rollerblading. I used to do I was sports captain in schools back home. So sports was the thing to go to. Hockey, basketball, athletics, all of those things. So yeah.
Wow. So you had a pretty athletic or sports focused background growing up, and just sort of fell in love with it yourself, and then also self motivated as well. I don't know too many 8-year-olds that are like, you know, what'll be fun? Let's just go jogging.
Maybe not at 8, but like I think once I got into like 11, 13, I remember
Yeah.
my uncle bought me these, like, you know, you could get like you could get roller skates, which were like 4, but they were brand new back then, the inline rollerblades, but it was
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
line wheels, and they were red and
Yeah.
black. And yeah, they were awesome.
Yeah.
So
Right.
just around our house, because we had like a little, like a sort of like a track around our house, and yeah, could go
So
for
got into
hours.
rollerblading. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I used to be a figure skater when I was younger. So yeah, I loved the rollerblades when they came out, and had a whole little street party that would go and do the rollerblading. So that was
That was
good.
amazing.
Um, okay, so did you grow up pretty much with your grandparents, and then so how did it then change from you then moving over with your mum and stepdad over to Australia, or did the grandparents come as well?
No, so they passed away. I was 17. Um, Granddad passed away at 17, and then grandma passed away at 20. And then it was about maybe a year of like, um, how can I put this uh, nicely? How did it just make it sound so crass? But it was just fighting back and forth with my stepdad, trying to take control of, you know, having me there with them, live with my mom and my stepdad. And I have a younger brother, a half brother. So yeah, I couldn't. I tried it for 2 months. It was like really hard. And then I moved in with my mom's youngest brother, my uncle, who got me the rollerblades. And yeah, and I just lived with him. I started uni back home. I was studying computer science. I was into my second semester. And yeah, and then my mom, well, my stepdad had applied to move the whole family over to get residency here. Um, and he had to put my name down because I was part of his family, because my mom made him adopt me when my grandparents passed away. So yeah,
Mm.
that was kind of lucky, I think, how it worked
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
So he had to
And
bring me.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and what happened? So you know, did you always want to go to uni, or was that encouraged? Because obviously, I mean, you didn't grow up with parents with them, and you had grandparents there. But was that heavily encouraged by your grandparents, or is that something that you wanted to do? Or yeah, what was the decision to get into uni and to pursue that?
Um, I think it was my uncle and my aunt. These are my mom's younger siblings. I think maybe they could see ahead, where they were like, she really doesn't have like a stable anything. So you need to get higher education so you can be grounded and be independent on your own. Yeah.
Mm,
So yeah.
yeah, yeah, good, and that worked out. Okay, and then so when you got to Australia, you know, you fell in love with the place. And then what did you do in terms of fitness and sport to start off with? Was it straight in the gym straight away? And then had you been exposed to bodybuilding beforehand, or, you know, what sort of was the driving force to get you into that?
So fitness first. I joined fitness first on Murray Street. um, I loved it. I loved going. I fell in love with Les Mills and group fitness. Um, yeah, because back in Kenya, like the university that I went to, it was free to use the gym there if you know were like a student of the uni, so you didn't have to pay to use it. So I had started lifting, like, and I had some really good coaches that were teaching me, and I used to do step aerobics a lot. So I used to love that. Yeah, so when I came here, Les Mills was like this whole massive world of like all of these different classes, and I was like, oh my gosh, and I would just go to like, I don't know, 10 classes a week. Yeah, and that was it for like for most of it until about 2014. I made some new friends, and they actually started showing me how to lift in the gym again, like with the barbells, and and it just kind of escalated from there. Like that was yeah. It was funny because like I used to like see around that time, 2012, 2013, I used to see pictures, and I'm not sure if you know what's his name, Greg. He's got a gym now.
Greg Moxon.
Yes, he used to come and teach body pump, and I used to love his classes. He's got such a wicked sense of humor, and he was always just like shredded, like he was constantly like just looked amazing aesthetically, and I just used to think, wow. And then I just saw lots of pictures on Facebook, went looking, and ended up going to an Omar show. I think it was like 2013, 2014, around that time, and they had God, I forget her name. Erin Stern was there. I love Erin Stern.
Yeah.
And
Larissa Race.
Yes, Larissa Race was there, and they were guest posing. And then after that, I was like, right, sign me up.
From that, and then so how long was it until you did your first comp after seeing that one show? Because I think that was October 2013 or 2014. I think they did the guest posing.
Yeah, so I ended up doing INBA in May. I think it was May 2014. And I placed 5th. It was just, I couldn't believe I placed because I cheated so much on my diet, and I just like, it was so brand new to me, and I was so scared of getting on stage. It was like I was shaking the whole time and sweating so hard. But I couldn't believe they gave me 5th. It was really cool because I didn't have like hardly any definition or any like hot, when you look at those pictures now, I was like, whoa, okay. And then you just like back to the drawing board.
Okay. And then did you and then so you did that, and then so what sort of changes did you make during your bodybuilding career? Because you obviously you managed to get quite a few placings over the time that you were doing it. So what did you go away and learn, and what kept you going for it?
What kept me going? I think maybe part of that was my ego. I'm an Aries rising, so we always want to try and be number one at everything we do. And just, I guess I
tickled your competitive edge. Okay.
I just wanted to see how far I could push it, and how I wanted to see my body change. I wanted to, because I had all these pictures. Erin Stern, that is like who I would like visualize every single time. Her physique was like so aesthetically balanced, and she was just such an awesome down-to-earth person. And I was like, right, I want delts like that, I want quads like that. And so my coach, I got first was, I'm not sure if you know Aaron Cohn.
Yeah.
So my INBA comp, I had Bronwyn Bishop, who used to be married to Aaron Cohn, and I found her through the Fitness First gym because she was a PT there, and she was my first coach. She was brilliant, knew all her stuff, just that I didn't follow her stuff, so it didn't get all, like, I love food, everyone loves food, and then she left for the UK, so I had to find another coach. And Aaron put me on to Zoe Chernikoff. And I think he actually wrote me a few programs as well. I bought a couple of programs from him, really, really well. It was just so well, old school bodybuilding, like really well written. Like, and in between like off seasons, I would just train those programs. I'd hit the gym. And then, I got Zoe. I would go see her every Saturday. And she would do my fats measurements every Saturday. Yeah, and it was just, oh, sorry, before that was like 2014. Yeah, so like my training, I actually hired Chris Coates, if you've heard of him. He used to work at Fitness Plus. Yeah. I trained with him like 2-3 times a week for October 2014 IFBB. Yeah. And he got my quads out. I feel like every comp that you train for, like every prep, you earn a cut. You earn a cut, you earn a teardrop, you earn like your quad sweep, you earn like your delts, you earn your serratus or something. Yeah, so with Chris, my quads came out. That was that comp, and Zoe was doing my food, and Chris was doing my training for that comp. I placed second in that one, and I didn't come in as lean as like yeah. It was just second time around, so it was good. It was nice to place second. They gave us like really good feedback, and then I just decided to train on my own, using Zoe's programs, Aaron's programs, and Zoe would do my fats every week, and then tweak my diet, tweak this and that, and yeah, and that was it.
It's
and
just for the audience. What Tabs means by do my fats means take the pinch test, so you can actually see how much body fat she's holding on to. I'm assuming that's the measurement side of things. Yeah. So we typically fondly call it in the industry pinch testing, or caliper testing if we use calipers, or sometimes just visual testing. But yeah, just there you go. A little bit of insider tip on bodybuilding. Sorry, Tabs, continue.
Cool. One thing I wanted to mention, if there are people out there that are wanting to do comps, or wanting to get on stage, there's one thing that I do look back and this is the quantum woo-woo of it now. I see it now when I go through my journals, but back then I had no idea what I was doing. But every day I would journal, every night I would journal like I already had. I would be like, oh, my delts look like perfectly physically sculpted like Aaron Stern's delts, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And I would journal that every single day of what I wanted.
The visualization piece is huge. Yeah, it's a good tip.
And
yeah,
and I didn't realize it until like a couple of years later, when I was out of doing comps and just living life, and I was going through a box and I found all these old journals, and I was like, whoa, like that happened. It didn't happen.
Yeah. So it's intuitive, right? Because I think with bodybuilding, right, there's an element around, or even fitness training to a degree, there's an outcome goal or a very clear visual that a lot of people represent or associate fitness with. But I think for some of us, what that actually does do is it actually creates a connection that once you learn that you can control your body composition, or you can get a particular outcome by focusing on the daily actions to get there, you start to apply that to more broadly to other concepts, and then you sort of naturally land or gravitate, if you're sort of growth orientated anyway, into that quantum field. So do you feel that that fitness, it's a bit of a leading question, but do you think that you would have gotten to where you are now in terms of understanding that quantum piece? Would you have gone there already, or do you think that fitness maybe kind of helped be a catalyst towards that journey for you at all?
Yes, 100%. My spiritual awakening happened March 2015, and the fitness journey was definitely a big catalyst towards it. Yeah, it was great because I had suppressed so much of the trauma from my childhood. I literally didn't want to look at it, like it was just there. And it's funny, like unconsciously, like in the back of my mind, I was like, there's shit I need to deal with. I don't know how or when or what it is, because I didn't know what it was. And then all of it, stopped doing comps 2016, and all of this stuff just came to the surface. And I was like, okay, here we go.
So what happened in terms of, so you gave up competing. So why did you give up? And then, that spiritual awakening, what did you tell us a little bit about the start of that journey, if you don't mind?
A friend of mine, Anne-Marie, took me to a sound healing in Frio. That was March. I had just gotten back from the Arnolds. That was like one of the best times, man. That year was like one of the best years ever, I have to say. It was just such a cool, I think it was the first Arnold's in Australia, and like, yeah. So Anne-Marie took me to sound healing. It was my first sound healing session. A guy called Julian Silburn did it he still does them. He's so amazing. And yeah, I just lay there. You get a yoga mat, you get a blanket, and he's got like this beautiful didgeridoo that he plays around your body. And he had like this huge gong and lots of other different instruments like sound bowls and crystal bowls. And this was all new to me. I had no idea what this was. And I had no idea what to expect. I was like, ooh, okay. And I was like, yep, let's go, let's do this. This looks interesting. It's new. And I lay there and I could feel the vibration around my body when he played the music. And I had all these visions of me, like all this, it was like stuff that was coming up in my future, but I saw all these flashes of visions of me driving a black car, and I ended up buying a black car, the next year, and just all these other visions. And I was like, oh, and I came out of that and I was like, oh, okay, that was like really amazing, really intense, a bit speechless, and then had the best sleep that night. And yeah, and then it was, I don't, it's like a feeling where you're like, I'm not happy where I am in my life right now. And it was obviously my work. I wasn't doing stuff that lit me up, apart from like the bodybuilding and stuff. The work didn't light me up, and like you spend like majority of your time at work, and yeah, just all these feelings of like, not being happy, feeling stuck, not being able to, not being numb to the world, being numb to myself. And I think the awareness of that became apparent after that first session. And I actually started going back every Sunday for sessions.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And yeah, then just started searching. I used to go try and get readings from psychics, used to try and get readings from tarot readers, searching outside of myself for all the answers, which I'm sure everyone does, and then not up until 2020, realizing that you have all the answers within. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So how long was it until you quit your job that wasn't nourishing you? So you quit bodybuilding, and why did you quit bodybuilding?
I was so tired. So that was November 2015 was my last comp on the Gold Coast, was the Amateur Olympia, which I didn't place. And I ended up spending a week in Hawaii straight after that. And it was just so amazing. And I feel like I hadn't done that in my life, like relaxed, gone on holidays and actually just had fun. Like I had a friend of mine that joined me and we just had so much fun, like eating, going to check out the volcanoes and just doing normal things that normal people do, but like, because you're like constantly training, you just don't have the time, or like your mind's not focused to, or even like can't figure out like, how do I go have fun? What do I find fun? That's where I was at, like at the end of December 2015. And yeah, work had actually made me redundant. So that was actually quite a nice surprise. I was on the verge of quitting, but they ended up giving me out a big pay packet, which really helped. Yeah, I took a few months off. I found some new work, and it was just, it was in the same field, but the team was just such a breath of fresh air. Like it was just a massive level up from where I was. And it was just so supportive and nourishing. And yeah, so I kind of like started loving going back to work, and I stopped training because, well, I stopped competing because it was just, I guess it wasn't fun anymore.
Yeah.
It felt like work.
But do you still train? Do you still train now, or what do you do for exercise now?
Yeah, maybe 3 times a week I'll go to circuit class at the gym. I do yoga, do a lot of yoga.
Yeah.
I that I needed that. You need to, when you push your body like that hard. I remember there would be, especially coming into, say, maybe 3 weeks out from comp, you're in prep, I'd be sitting on the couch and my joints would just hurt. Like, it was just, you need to like really recover. So yoga was, yeah, it was just like magic. It just shifted everything, and it just created so much space in my physical body. And then obviously that translates into your mental, your emotional. There's just space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so are you still working in the finance area, or have you moved over, because you've obviously explored the field, you've done some numerology, and then you sort of into some coaching now. So what's been the transition there, or is the coaching on the side of the job, or?
It was, yeah. So I did my hypnotherapy certification in March 2019, and yeah, I just had a few clients. I've had a few clients come through here and there, and I think it's time. It just feels like it's time to be a business owner and be my own boss, instead of giving my time to someone else's dreams and someone else's, visions of the future. So yeah.
It's a big step, exciting times. So how long have you been on your own now? When did you decide to move fully into this?
December I finished up work, and yeah, it was kind of perfect, I guess, because I like the mandates came in, and I'm all about choice. So I was like, okay, yeah,
yes,
we're not aligned anymore. Yeah. So I was like, yep,
yeah,
perfect time.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. So why don't we talk about, for the sake of the audience, exactly what your new practice is? Because I think, look, it's very, how to say, modern, very salient for the times that we have at the moment, because I think people are realizing now that that stress in itself is something that we really do need to manage. I would also argue that there's probably some obligation in terms of actually reworking and reviewing how we actually look at modern work, and the way that that's set up on a very gregarian and paternalistic kind of time frame, and the expectations in terms of hours and so on. But I can't solve the world's problems. But what we can do is we can focus on our own stress and our own central nervous system, and be aware of some of those, I guess, many faceted avenues at which stress can impact us or come at us. So yes, I think it's really important work on what you're doing. But for those who might not understand what hypnotherapy is, because I think people have a perception around, it's when people make you go and make chicken noises for a period of time, instead of actually getting into your subconscious and unpacking what might be happening on your central nervous system and so on. So how about you tell us a little bit about what the process involves, and how you help others with stress?
So honestly, it used to be just me reading the scripts depending on what the client came in with. Since January last year, it's actually become very intuitive. Yeah, like my guides will just tell me, I actually see visions, and then I just hear them going, right, speak fast or the visions will disappear. So I need to like be narrating this journey that I'm taking the client on. So we work like on shifting whatever blocks clients would have like in their unconscious. I guess you could call it similar to a guided meditation. We work with metaphors, and we go in and like rewire like belief systems and programming that have been playing in the background, or any blocks and that sort of thing.
So very similar to sort of breathwork coaching and heart math stuff, right? Or is it somewhat different?
I honestly, I haven't experienced heart math. I have done some breath work sessions. Uh, they're hard and they're very different. Like yeah, well, depending on which ones you do, like the ones I've done now, it's a half-hour session. It goes for ages, and then you just feel euphoria at the end of it, and like there's a massive release, and your vibration is just high for the next few weeks, or for as long as you can keep it there. Hypno is very relaxed. Like the client sometimes will just fall asleep. I'll give you an example. Like I had a lady come in. It was so unplanned. She came in not last Sunday, the Sunday before that, and she said that she was experiencing pain because she's former like cancer survivor. And I was like, oh, okay, we could try a pain elimination hypnosis. But when she got here, the session went for like almost 3 hours. Like there was just so much to unpack. Like because like you said, like the chronic stress, the burnout, the anxiety, PTSD, all of those are like just symptoms. You got to get to like the root cause of what's actually the problem. So yeah, I was like, vent, tell me everything. And we got down to it was her mom, and like just all this pain that had been caused by her mom. And yeah, so I I got her to like write a letter to her mom, and then we burnt it, and then it burned for ages. So that was like a big energetic shift as well. And then we went into intuitive hypno. It was all intuitive. Like I just relaxed her in, and then I was just had my eyes closed, and I was seeing these visions, and I was like, right, I got to take her here. She's got to do this. She's got to do that. And I had no, I've done that a few times, and I was like, okay, just trust it, and she left. She felt good afterwards. 2 days later, I had this text from her saying, I don't know what you did, but like everything shifted, like this big mental block that I had's gone. And I love getting that kind of feedback. It's just like, yes.
Yeah, awesome.
So yeah, I honestly don't know half of it. I don't know half of what happens. Like, so, but yeah, so just it's similar to a guided meditation.
I think you do know because because I think you do know because there's a difference, right? So, you might not know the information behind it, but you clearly have the knowledge because it's around translating that information into action. So if you're using the intuition as part of that, it's probably deep down that you do understand that process and you're just trusting it more. So it's pretty fascinating stuff. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Yeah. And what fascinates you about the numerology, and are you going to do anything with that? So I understand that you're also a qualified numerologist, so what's that aspect?
I just loved it. Like I love astrology. I love numerology. It's probably something I've done in a past life. I was probably like a mystery school teacher or something. I don't know, but I think for adults who, for example, adults like me who came from like broken homes or never had like weren't really seen or understood when we were little. Like, you didn't have parents there to like acknowledge that you want to understand yourself better. So we kind of go and look for these sort of things. And I love it. I love numbers. The universe is made up of numbers. It's all like math and energy. That's what I think. Yeah, it's really accurate. I'm not really doing much with it. Like I do soul blueprint reports that I actually created towards the end of last year. I'm really proud of them. It took me ages to get them up and running. It was in the back of my head and I finally did it. And it's about 15, 16 pages of like a breakdown of from your date of birth, your life path number, your gifts, your talents, your abilities in this lifetime based off your birth date, because your soul always chooses the birthday that you come in on and the gifts and talents that you have in every lifetime. And then the energy associated with your name as well, and also your life destiny, because they're two different things. Your life path and your life destiny are separate, but it's like and And also a little bit of astrology I put in there is where Saturn is in your astrological birth chart is what your lesson is here in this lifetime and what you're here to master. So for me, I've got Saturn in Scorpio. So that is to do with partnerships, trust, intimacy, which is a big theme in my life. I have to learn to trust and learn to be vulnerable and intimate with my partners that I've had. Yeah, so, and people like Saturn in Libra, they are here to master justice. Saturn in Sagittarius, they're here to master prosperity in life, you know, all these things. Saturn in Leo, people are here to master leadership. So if Saturn's like this planet that gives you hard lessons, but eventually you become a master at it. So it is where your success lies in this lifetime. Eventually you will, master it. So yeah, there's all of that stuff in there, plus your personal years, numerology, like the universal year this year is 2022, so that's a 6. 6 is ruled by Venus, the planet of love, abundance, relationships. So you'll probably see like a lot of people getting married this year, a lot of love, a lot of harmony. There will also be like a lot of crazy stuff as well, because the nodes are in other astrology. There's other astrology as well going on. But yeah, so your personal year is like numerology goes in 9-year cycles. Yeah. So this year I'm in a year 1. So it's a new beginning for me, and I have a brand new 9-year cycle. So obviously this new business, perfect time to start it. And then you go into a 2, which is about partnerships, commitments, relationships. 3s are about creative communication and manifestation and magic. 4 is about building foundations and putting down roots. 5s are about travel, independence. 6 is about harmony, ease, cooperation, peace. 7s are about learning about yourself, learning through self-discovery. 8s are about abundance, and then 9s about completions and endings. So yeah, it's got all that stuff in there.
Yeah, that's fascinating. So and so you're offering numerology, so you've got the blueprint, so you're offering that yet, or is it just something if people ask you?
Yeah, if they want to do one, I'm happy to do one up. Yeah, it's not something I'm focused on. It's just something I like to do for fun. Like I give it away to my friends as birthday gifts.
Yeah, oh, that's fun. Okay, so it's just something that piques your interest. That's interesting. Right, and so if anyone wanted to get in contact with you around the, I guess releasing mental blocks, mental or emotional blocks is probably the way that I'll frame it. What's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
Just off my Facebook page. The banner, I've got a banner up now that's got a link, a Calendly link that you can book an appointment. Yeah, just do that.
Fantastic. We'll make sure we put that link in as well when we post this to the social medias. Well, look, Mehtab, thanks so much for your time today. That was fascinating. I feel like I could have gone. We went on a very long journey, but I feel like we could have gone on for ages. And there's so much to unpack, and it was truly fascinating. So really appreciate your time. I hope the audience enjoyed it as well. Tabs is obviously part of our communities as well, so feel free to ask any questions in that forum. And say hello, and then let us know what some of your takeaways were from this session as well. And if there's anything else you'd like to know more about, I'm sure that I can tap Tabs on the shoulder again for a follow-up session if there's something that people really want to deep dive into and so on. And just a reminder as well to check out my website as well. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but whilst I do focus on athletic performance, there's a lot of stuff that I do with a lot of my clients that also focuses on releasing emotional and mental blocks as well. I'm by no means an expert and don't do hypnotherapy. So, I will refer out to great coaches like Tabs for such things. But, I do some introductory things on that as well. So my view is that health does not happen in a vacuum, that everything is holistic, and that one thing will impact the performance and well-being of another. So stay tuned for some of that material that's coming out. And just a reminder as well, the Incredible You in 2022 program is up and running. So if you want to find out more about that, make sure you hit us up. All right. Thanks very much, everyone. And until next time.